everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Cantina Conversations, the Galaxy's #1 conversational podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Will Beeman, joined as always by my two Canadian compadres, starting off with Reddit insider DJ Gillard. DJ, how are
I
you
hate that
doing
I've
today?
become this because I casually use Reddit every now and then, mostly just to stay on top of news. That's pretty much it. And now I'm just like I have to tell Will what's going on over there. Then I have to look myself. I'm just like, things are
DJ,
going on over there.
is your fedora at the cleaners? Is it off screen?
My fedora's off screen actually.
With his anime body pillow.
Yeah, they're all off screen. Don't worry about it.
You'll have to show it off sometime. Maybe next week's episode.
Yeah, maybe I'll show and tell. I'll show off my anime body pillow for you guys. Maybe I won't shave my neck for a little while too, and just let it go.
Perfect. Well, how are you today?
I'm worse now that you made that joke, but I'm doing fine.
Well, that's good. And then joined bringing back his festive shirt that didn't get its ceremonious welcome the first time he wore it. It's Mr. Jackson Wells. Jackson, how are you today?
Pleasure to see you. Yeah, my shirt was a victim of the I don't know what happened a couple weeks ago. The video didn't work.
Of 2020.
Yeah, Will's internet being trash.
So here it is. It's the ATs and you know what? It's the AT-ATs and Darth Vader.
We don't do that.
So yeah, you might be wondering, hey, I've heard them talk about this shirt, but I've never seen it. Why don't you check out the YouTube video?
Yeah. Oh yeah, because there wasn't even video for that episode because so much went wrong. Oh man. But I did get my entire fiber optic line replaced, so That's good to go. Apparently squirrels chewed through it, but boy, what a hectic 24 hours that we have experienced in Star Wars land. And if you've already noticed by your podcast feed before you started this episode, we're giving you a double dose of Cantina Conversations on this fine Monday because there was just too much to talk about for one episode. So this episode is going to be going over everything that was announced during the Disney shareholders meeting that happened this last Thursday. I sat through a lot of boring numbers talk just to watch the Lucasfilm panel live.
Doing it for the show.
And I'm so glad that I did.
This is kind of like the choose your own adventure week of Cantina Conversations. So here, let me practice two canned things. Welcome back to another episode of the Cantina Conversations. And here's the other one. Wow, that episode of Mando sure was great. Anyways, let's dig into the news.
Thank you, Jackson.
That would do it with time codes and have it split off. That'd be so cool. Choose your adventure podcast. Let's do it. Someone make it.
Yeah. Someone can make that for us. But before we dive into all the news that was announced, there is something that happened previously before the conference happened that I did want to address because people in the media have gotten review copies, and some people are starting to get their copies now throughout the mail for the Star Wars Archives Volume 2, which is written by Paul Duncan, which is his one-on-one interview with George Lucas and chronicling of the special editions and the prequels of Star Wars to follow up his book, The Star Wars Archives, that went over the original trilogy, which I have. It is a giant book. I'm all about the show and tell stuff, but this book's literally like 3/4 of my coffee table in size. It's a big book, and it's like 400 pages of just him interviewing George Lucas about the whole thing. But at some point in this upcoming book, which is on my Christmas list, so if anyone in my family just happens to choose today to be the day to listen, please make sure that's in the Christmas tree. Apparently George is a little sad that he sold Star Wars to Disney. Which is understandable because he mentions in there that
they ruined it.
Yeah, that's why, because they ruined it. But
their SJW agenda ruined it.
Basically, to paraphrase, because I don't want to quote directly because I don't have the book myself yet, but to paraphrase basically is he said that when he was getting ready to do his sequel trilogy, he was turning 69,
nice.
And he was getting ready to have a child, and he knew the kind of worker he was, where he's just an all or nothing work kind of guy, and he wanted to be a dad. And he said the only way that he would be able to be the dad that he wanted to be would be to get rid of what's taking all of his time, and that is Star Wars. So the only option in his eyes was that he had to sell Star Wars so he could be a father. And I completely understand where he's coming from, though, because like it's widely documented, it's widely been talked about in like both his biography and books about Star Wars, is like his first marriage with Marcia Lucas, who is the lady that saved the original Star Wars in the edit process. Basically their romance basically bloomed just simply because they got along working together, and they adopted some children, but because of his always on work lifestyle, they had a, by all accounts, a terrible relationship, and he wasn't really there to help raise his children, which is why they inevitably wound up divorced. So when he ended up marrying his current wife, who he's described several times as the love of his life, they seem to have a very healthy relationship, a very happy relationship. Knowing the mistakes of his past, I can understand why he was like, well, if I want to do it this time, I'm going to do it right. And that's why he sold everything. He also had mentioned that he was a little sad that they didn't really ask for his input on the new films. He thought he would be a little bit more involved. And when I read this excerpt, I kind of thought to myself, and I was like, he probably thought that by selling it is that him contributor, but then like have other people make it for him. It's probably what his thought going into it was, which is a fair way of thinking of it. But when you're selling your company, you're not necessarily entitled to that. So like I see both sides of the coin here. Like he probably thought, well, I devote 24/7 365 to Star Wars, but if I sell it and this other company makes my movies, I just contribute, but then they have their own director, their own producers, their own stage crew. That's a lot less work on my part. I just got to make sure the story's told. Whereas Lucasfilm, acquired by Disney, they were just like, well, we'll just do it ourselves now because we are our own entity now. And of course, the internet's been taking these quotes and kind of running with it. But it's even evident that the man was always on with Star Wars to begin with, because like one, Clone Wars was being made up until the moment that Lucasfilm was sold. And also he literally was editing A New Hope still 40 years later until that was sold as well. That's how we got the McClunky cut, is up until the 4K transfers. He's still messing with this stuff. So I don't know if you guys had any thoughts or opinions on this about how George kind of sounds like he's sad that he sold Star Wars. He doesn't make it sound like he regrets it, just that he's a little sad about it.
People were taking up running with it as if it was just like George never wanted to do it, like, and all this stuff. I was like, I think he's happy he did it, but he did his thing, and it's great that he's clearly happier now with this all. So it's great for him, honestly. And whatever we think of the sequel trilogy, whatever anyone thinks, it's kind of ancillary to this whole thing, and we should all just be happy that the guy who created Star Wars chose a better path, for the rest of his life.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. Good for George. Go make your weird movies in your basement, and I don't know, wear your plaid shirts and have fun.
Yeah, I hope he's still editing A New Hope in his basement, just like as a
just like fun.
How people retire and they just like pick up like really random hobbies. I hope he's just like, guess I'll edit A New Hope again and see what else I could do just for myself.
It's like, I feel like making Han shoot first again. Let's
go
back.
He just has a full folder of MP4s, and there's like 57 of them, and they're all just like, all the edits are like one scene where it's just like something's very slightly different or cut a different way, and they're just all sitting there. He's like, he feels so great about them. He's like, I love all of these. They're great.
Yeah, they're his children.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, that picture that I've sent in our group chat before of him pushing his daughter in the stroller, that is a man that it looks like he's happy with the decision he made.
Yeah,
it is the purest photo that I have ever seen. That's why I love it so much. But now we can roll into the news of everything from Investor Day that came out. But I do want to make on behalf of literally the entire internet, everybody owes the website InsideTheMagic.com a massive apology, because they leaked almost all of these months ago and everyone wrote them off because they were traditionally just a website that writes about the Disney theme parks.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, oh, they don't have any sources. Who cares about this blog site?
There's no way Hayden's coming back.
And they got they got probably 75% of these announcements right. And I went back on their website and searched some of these articles, and they were coming out in January. so on behalf of the internet, yeah, good for them. But on behalf of the internet, I apologize. Inside the Magic, you are now a website I will visit frequently.
Yeah, everyone double click on their article they posted in January. Just keep hitting it to give them more money because they did it. They did it. Good for them.
Yeah, I even took a screenshot of the earliest. Let's see how far back it was. January 5th. That was the earliest one that they had.
Which one was that? Was that the Hayden one?
That is the next Star Wars saga was rumored to take place during the High Republic era and include a young Yoda. Right. And then later, we'll get back to this article because there's something about the announcements that I want to get to that'll relate back to this. But
cool. Good
work inside the Magic reporting team. You guys outscooped even the best scoopers.
Yeah.
So starting right off the bat is we finally got the series name reveal, the expected date of the Cassian series, which is just plain and simply Star Wars Andor.
Weird name.
Andor, a Star Wars story.
Yeah. It was interesting. They just went with his last name. A lot of people thought they would go like the Fulcrum line or something, but I guess that makes sense and kind of lines up with Solo. But it's coming out in 2022. It's currently filming now. They confirmed that yesterday, but we had kind of known that already just from interviews and stuff. But it's going to be a spy thriller. Tony Gilroy is still on as the showrunner and co-director because he isn't doing much traveling because of COVID. So they're really leaning into the spy thriller thing on it. The thing that was the most important point to me that they pointed out during this is it's going to be 12 episodes. And
that was very interesting when I heard that.
So they're doing even more than Mando.
Probably this is a one-off, I would think, right? So it would make it a little bit more.
I don't think this one is a one-off.
You don't think so?
I think this one's going for at least 2 or 3 seasons.
Okay.
My guess would be that maybe there's going to be a little less planet hopping and like the budget might be a little lower on this one than Mando.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
And it also won't have like such sweeping stakes as Mando, where every episode we're just like, where are we going? This one would just be like, cool spy thriller show is coming out. Like it'll be much calmer for this one for sure. So
I will say for me, Will, the most important thing was Diego Luna. That man. I like him quite a bit.
I like him
quite a bit.
Yeah. It's weird as how I've felt like not really anything about the Cassian series other than it was existing, but the 30 seconds that we saw about that stuff, it got me excited. I'm sold on it now.
I was totally in the path, and they're in the court of view as well, where I was just like, they're in a Cassian series. Okay, I'll watch it. And then I watched like 30 seconds of them just like kind of talking and like some concept art. And I'm just like, yeah, Cassian. Let's do a Rebels, like have like the actual Rebellion era stuff. Let's do it with like a spy thriller thing. Like that's awesome.
So. He's up there with the best parts of Rogue One.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
the whole Rebellion side of like how they show like what they're doing at the time and like everything leading up to everything. That's the best part of Rogue One, in my opinion. So this will be cool to see more of that for sure. Yeah. Krennic's good too.
It's amazing though, like how hype I can get for a Star Wars project when all they do is they just put like the dorks that work behind the scenes on camera and just have them gushing about the work they're doing.
They're like this is a full movie's worth of work.
I loved writing all of the concept art for this. It was the most fun I've ever had in my career. And I'm like, well, I'm sold because of that guy.
I think there was one specific one where like there was a woman in like production or costume design. She's like, I'm making this.
It really was like they were just going from department to department and they're like, we're drawing this. And so that got me on board. I'm pretty excited about that.
One question I have for the panel about this show our hero, the winner of the prequels, Jimmy Smits, was in Rogue One in a brief cameo.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think he's coming back?
He's gotta.
You think so?
Mon
He's
Mothma's
gotta.
already been announced.
Yeah,
Mon
hasn't
Mothma's
she?
in the show.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm into that. We got to do that.
I didn't write down the cast announcement, but when they were listing it off, it was pretty loaded too.
It was
Yeah.
Bill Skarsgård, I think was.
Yeah,
I have
there
it
was
right here if you want me to read it.
Yeah, read it off, DJ.
I'm gonna probably get some of these names wrong because I just seeing them. I'm just like I'm not sure about that. So Stellan Skarsgård, which I've heard of, but I don't know if I know him from anything. Adria Arjona, I don't know. Fiona Shaw, Denise Gu, Kyle Sower, Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma.
That's
The
Genevieve.
Stellan Skarsgård is the.
I know his name. I can't.
He's the
picture
guy
him.
from. He's the scientist from Thor and the Avengers.
Oh, okay. I think I know who you're talking about. now.
He's
Yeah.
also in other things, but
yeah,
that's
like
maybe
he's
the
like an actual
popular-
actor. Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's the one I would vaguely know him from.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And then the other question is obviously like, could we see in like maybe some Harrison Dula in
I was thinking
here?
that too. Like,
It's
because this would
possibility.
probably be after Rebels, I would think. It's probably
Well, I mean-
closer to the Rogue One time, right?
I mean, Hera's voice is in Rogue One.
Is it? Oh,
Mhm.
I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah, she comes over a loudspeaker. Yavin 4.
right. So I could definitely see that. That would make a lot of sense too. So
I would like to see that.
Mhm.
Like, I would like to see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And they mocapped Vanessa Marshall, who does her voice for Squadrons. So
right.
in my head, I could see her just reprising that role in the show too.
Yeah.
If they went through the effort to mocap her. But yeah, so that's the Andor show coming out in 2022. And then we got a new sizzle trailer for Bad Batch. No release date or anything on it, but the footage, I don't really know how to describe Bad Batch. Like, I just rewatched season 7 of Clone Wars and I liked those episodes. The trailer was cool. Like, it just looks like more Clone Wars, so like I guess I'm in just by default.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like they're it is in the post Clone Wars era,
Mhm.
but that, you know what, the animation that they got to by season 7 of Clone Wars looks real good. So
Yeah.
regardless, I'm excited to just like see more
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah.
All that lighting in that 4K HDR. Whew.
Oh yeah,
Those
my
gunfights are
laptop,
gonna
it looks
look good in
amazing
dark.
on.
Yeah, I bet it
Yeah.
does.
I'm excited too, just to see a show that is, even though the Bad Batch is like kind of a different thing, just a show completely about clones. Like if you think about like Umbra or The Deserter and like those like clone arcs, like have nothing to do with anyone else. They're like some of the really good ones in the Clone Wars. So I'm
Mhm.
excited to just like this is the full season of that theoretically.
And you know what I
So-
saw in a couple of like in the sizzle reel, there's like a couple of like actual like regular clones who are now like stormtroopers
Mhm.
Yeah,
In
they're
the-
like, yeah,
in the episode, and I'm like, well, that's kind of that's my thing that I love about like Clone Wars. So I'm
Yeah.
actually like, this one's pretty high up on the hype scale for me.
Yeah.
like all the clones you see in the background are all their colors are gone. Like all their like they're all the pure white again. And like there's one shot that actually has Cody apparently. It's like
Well,
got like
people
his
think it's
antenna.
Cody.
People
It's
think it's
not-
Cody.
yeah, it's not
it's probably
confirmed, but
Cody
yeah.
as an actual Imperial commander. Like that. All digging into all that is going to be cool.
Yeah,
You know-
that's
you
what's
know-
exciting me about it.
Yeah.
We might see some of the like the Rex and Wolf and the other guy in Rebels.
Mhm.
We might
Right.
see maybe a little bit of them.
That would be cool if
Because
they
that,
finally
that's a big
explain-
question mark still. Like, hey, how did
Yeah.
that happen?
Right.
Oh man, I like. I'm in
yeah.
on this actually.
Yeah, so that's pretty hype. No release date though. I swear, I still think that's gonna come out around when Clone Wars did this year though, like end of
Yeah,
February. Is
I
what
think
I'm
they're just
thinking.
waiting till Mando's done to kick up the train
Yeah.
on that one.
Because I don't think
Fennec's
we
in the
got.
show.
I don't think we got the Clone Wars release date until like mid-January, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
no, I think you're right.
Yeah,
Because
so
we were watching the show when this final season 7 trailer that like got everything going.
Mhm.
Like that came out while we were like mid season 4 or something. So like,
Yeah.
it was pretty close.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited for that though. And then we got a big piece of news when Kathleen started talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's going to take place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, and our boy Hayden Christensen is going to be back as Darth Vader,
Star of Little Italy.
star of Little Italy, and she even said the show is going to have the rematch of the century. And my lord, when they announced that he was back, I sobbed. I cried the entire rest of their announcements from there on out. I was so high. I was just so happy that he is back into the Star Wars lexicon now. And he'll get his shot. He is still not a good actor. God bless his heart, but he is going to be there.
It's the same thing with Mark Hamill at this point, where it's like we all kind of acknowledge he's not great, but like you can't not have him. Like,
Right.
you know, he's the guy.
But it'll be
We all-
interesting to see what they can get out of him under a good director and stuff like that. So
Deborah Chow.
Deborah
Yeah.
Chow.
Deborah
But-
Chow, still my favorite part of this new series. She's great.
yeah.
Yeah.
And one is I'm excited just because now we kind of have an idea that the Vader is going to be the main through line of this
Do we think so?
series. I think he will be. I think and I think the reason they're bringing Hayden back is it's finally quote unquote safe for him to return again. And
Yeah.
two is they can use him in live action flashbacks. So like he could play Anakin and Vader throughout this series when the story needs him to.
Yeah. He doesn't look that different.
No,
Like,
he has not aged like a day.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
I think it's interesting because like Darth Vader is like not Anakin Skywalker.
Mhm.
Like Hayden Christensen has never played really Darth Vader. Even like the little bit of lines in Revenge of the Sith is James Earl Jones, if I'm correct.
Yeah, but he is in the suit.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. Like, do they like what do they do with his voice? 'Cause, like he's getting a little old.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense for you to bring
You could
Hayden
hear
back
it in Rogue
and not
One.
have him speak.
Well, see, it depends how much effort they do, though, because like in Rogue One, James Earl Jones, his voice sounded really old.
yeah,
but
you could tell.
in Rise of Skywalker, they did some movie magic and they added a lot of gravitas back to his voice for that
True.
3 lines that he had. So
yeah, I don't know. 3 lines is not indicative to me, but
I know, but still,
Yeah.
like if they made it
They
work
could do it.
a year
Yeah.
ago, maybe they found a way to kind of boost him back up, and or they could use the guy that did Vader in the VR game. I can't think of his name though. That he's like done Vader in like the Force Unleashed and a bunch of other games. Not the terrible Vader voice actor from Squadrons. That was a whole different person. But they could always go that route too. But
yeah. Or they could do Hayden and just like do some magic with it. Like you never know if he wants to
Yeah,
give it a go. Like who knows?
Maybe Obi-Wan hears Hayden in Vader's voice.
See, this is the thing about the show though. Now that like we're getting into it, like because like we assume if they're bringing Hayden back, like people are gonna want to see Hayden. Like I think
that's
he's
why I
gonna
think
be.
he'll do Anakin flashbacks.
Yeah, like is it going to be the flashbacks that were rumored a long time ago, or is it like how is this all gonna work out? Like, are we gonna see Hayden in like the makeup and like destroyed and all that stuff ever? Like, is we ever gonna see him with the mask
Oh,
off,
yeah.
that kind of thing?
Mm.
Who
What if they
knows?
did like some live action flashbacks of like some Clone Wars moments?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be pretty cool, I think. But
That'd be
again, Hayden Christensen being back as Vader, another inside the magic scoop
Yeah.
that happened months ago.
And
that
they were the ones
everyone
that said
laughed
it was
off.
flashbacks, right?
Yeah,
That's what they said about it. So I think it's gonna happen.
That's got to be the biggest news of yesterday, right?
Yeah.
yeah, I
Even
would,
more than a new movie.
yeah, I would say bringing him back, and of course, the awful takes that immediately went to Twitter after this, like talking about how why wasn't he in episode 9? And well, I
don't
mean,
get it.
first
Don't get
off, he had like the most dialogue of all of the Jedi voices in that scene, and
Yeah.
two, people need to remember, because we grew up with them and we like them, the prequels were widely reviled. Ahmad Best was suicidal from the reception. Hayden Christensen's career was basically killed. Natalie Portman had a tough rebound era during that whole
Jake
time.
Lloyd.
Quaid literally had a mental breakdown and lives confined with his parents because he cannot function in society anymore. We really need to stop pretending just because we're the adults enjoying the new product that the prequels were loved. They were not. I love the prequels, but they are not well written and they are not well acted. We really have to stop with the damaging revisionist history behind all of this. Hayden Christensen did not show his face to the Star Wars public until Star Wars Celebration 2017. So he went almost, how long would that be? From 2005? Yeah, 12 years without showing his face into the public. Ahmad Best did not do the same thing until 2019's Star Wars Celebration. So for people to have expected him in episode 9 beyond the dialogue that he got, you're insane. And all of those fan edits people keep posting up of like his ghost edited in instead of Han, or his ghost appearing at the end with all the other Force ghosts and stuff. I'm sorry, but those are dumb. And that would have been really dumb in execution in the movie.
My biggest thing about it is just like, what is the story reason behind bringing Hayden back?
How can you have the end of the Skywalker saga without Hayden in it, or without Anakin Skywalker in it? And I was like, because Ben is a Skywalker.
Yeah.
Rey becomes a Skywalker. Leia's a Skywalker. They had Skywalkers in the Skywalker saga.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not all about Anakin.
Right. Don't hate the Rise of Skywalker all you want, but there is no reason why they should have ham-fisted Anakin in there. Just because the kids that were 8, 9, and 10 when the prequels came out are in their 20s and 30s watching these new episodes.
Yeah.
It's just the Twitter takes from some of these fans. You need reality checks because it's so exhausting.
Yeah.
Oh my.
I want someone to write Hayden into Rise of Skywalker in a way that's not ham-fisted, and then they can come talk to me.
Right.
Because I don't think there's a way to do it.
Instead of just editing him in and just being like, wouldn't this have been cool? Man, they really ruined it, didn't they?
Yeah. Just very clearly should have been Han in that flashback. That's the emotional climax of this trilogy.
Right. They just announced 9 new projects. Move on from your 3 and 1 year old movies at this point. There's new stuff to worry about. God, that stuff was getting me so heated yesterday, though.
I can tell you're very upset, Will.
Yeah, it was, but
mad old man.
I am. But yeah, so I'm extremely stoked for the Obi-Wan series. It's going to start production early next year. I think as early as next month. I think. Stoked to see what comes out of that.
That's one of those there's some weird like dissonance for me where it's like, man, Hayden and Ewan are coming back and reprising their Star Wars roles in a series, and I just like can't accept that as reality until I see it.
Yeah.
Well,
and so I'm waiting.
Have you seen that article where somebody like described what the footage was that they showed to the shareholders?
Oh no.
Apparently it's just like interviews with the cast, which I don't know why they couldn't have just shown that to the public since they did with Cassian. But I guess there's a part in there where Ewan said that the best part of having Anakin is back is because they get to work together again and they get to have a go at it again. So I can't wait to see what they whip up. I have all the faith in Deborah Chow. I have faith in everything about this. I'm stoked for it.
See, I have faith in Deborah Chow too, but I'm just, when I hear the rematch of the century, I'm just like, that's literally Star Wars, like A New Hope. Like I don't know. I don't know how this is gonna work. I don't know how. I hope it doesn't actually happen. I hope it's like more like. I hope they like collide, rematch. But like they don't actually.
I hope if it happens, it is worth it. I hope that they don't just do it to do it.
Yeah, like when you say that, and like obviously like that's said in like an investor call, like just to hype people up. Like I get that there's probably gonna be more like story behind it, but I don't want this to feel forced. I don't want it to be like these two should fight again, because wouldn't that be dope? And it wasn't dope in Star Wars. We all know it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was a very awkward fight.
Yeah.
So
gotta watch that SC-38.
But how do you guys feel to know that we can now say we're getting sequels to the prequels? Because with the Bad Batch and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they are.
Star Wars Episode 4, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
I equally think that in between 3 and 4 is like an overdone territory, but also the most interesting.
Yeah.
There's just
Like they
something
keep
about
doing it, but I also want them to keep doing it. Like I don't
Yeah.
want you to stop. Same
And
with
that's why they
between
keep doing
after
it.
6.
Yeah.
Same with like after Episode 6. I'm just like, you keep announcing shows for after Episode 6. I'll take them all. I'm so intrigued.
So we're also on to the next announcement here is we're also getting an event series, as this was pitched, is a Lando series from the Dear White People creator Justin Simeon. She even specifically said it's in the early stages of development, so who knows if this even ends up happening. If it's still early, it could happen, it could not. Reliable.
They didn't even say Donald Glover was going to be in it.
No,
like,
they
didn't
made no
mention
mention
them.
of cast, but
Which is-
there have been reliable scoopers who have said either Billy D or Glover have signed on, and some people have even said both, and it's going to start with Billy D telling a story from
Let me
his
tell you the
past,
story,
and then
yeah.
it'll go back to Glover.
Yeah, that was the rumor a while ago too, that they were going to do that.
And I don't know if you guys saw this, but right before we started recording, Billy D. Williams retweet the
did
Deadline
see this.
article
That was
about
the
the
last-
show.
It's like the last tweet I saw before we joined this show.
Okay, here's my thing. Is someone who like follows Donald Glover's career like close-ish enough. I don't see him signing on to do a Star Wars TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he's, especially in like the past 2 years, gotten really selective with what projects he's doing, and by that I mean basically only doing projects that he's in charge of. I don't see him coming back as Lando, at least in this sense.
Okay. I mean, I would be happy either way, to be honest. I like Glover's Lando. I love Billy D, obviously. So we're just really going to have to kind of see where they go out, because like they didn't even mention like what period of time this
I
show's
know
gonna
that's the
be in
weirdest
either.
thing.
I have one more
Because-
question too.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, you go.
I'm just reading like the Star Wars website because I just have it pulled up. And for specific series, it specifies, but this one doesn't specify whether or not it's live action. Do we know that for sure?
I think I read live action somewhere, but I
Yeah.
can't remember where. But it could be animated too,
Yeah,
and
that's
just
true.
have Billy D be the voice. Because his voice, for some reason, still sounds
He's
for
got a
someone
good
that's
voice.
150 years old. But
Yeah.
I don't mean to disrespect him like that. I think he's only in his 80s, but
This series is so weird because
I think
In
what
my
makes
head-
it weird is the creator behind it. Like I've never seen
Yeah?
Dear White People,
Okay.
but I
I've
think
never
that's
seen
like I think that's like a deep introspective series about race issues in America.
yeah.
So like for him to be doing a Star Wars project, I assume he's going to try and carry on those same kind of themes.
Yeah.
So
which
I'm trying
is-
to just think how Lando, like the playboy robot loving gambler, fits into this. And I think that's what's making me the most confused about it. Is it just and it could be completely just straight up Lando. He just might love that character and was like, hey, I can show you that I'm really good at writing television, so give me a series. And they did.
Yeah. This is like the one thing where he's just like, I have to do this. Like I'm never gonna get this chance again. Maybe it's something like that. I don't know.
Right.
But the coupled with like him, obviously, and then you couple that with the fact that I think when this is announced, I think everyone's head, in my head, definitely was just like, this is the Solo sequel, right? And then you look at what the little they said about it, I'm just like, I don't think this is the Solo sequel.
Yeah, I don't either. I
it
was
seems
kind of
like
on
it's gonna
that
be its own
plane.
thing. But like when you first hear it, you're like, oh, they're doing it. They're gonna
Well,
do the
to
thing, and
Lando.
it's just gonna be with Lando without Han Solo maybe this time. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, but it doesn't seem like that's gonna happen, which is weird. And and especially because they didn't tell us the timeline, that there's really nothing to go on that we
Right.
and to really tell what it's even gonna be. So who knows with this one?
Could
I'm
even
excited.
be before Solo.
It could be.
Yeah. I mean, or it could be after The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
So
It
I
could
mean,
be
we
that
really
show
don't
that
know.
that show that they were like kind of tantalizing with the end of Rise of Skywalker when him and what's his
Yeah.
Jaina were just like, oh, let's
More
find
so than
out.
anything else, that specific scene is like bait
Ingrained in your
for
memory.
a new series. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Star Wars has never really done that before, even in the sequels. But this one feels like, well,
Or
why don't we star in a TV series together?
Yeah.
Or it could be an animated series about what he's doing when episode 4 is taking place, because he's not in that movie.
That'd be cool.
Mr. Cloud City.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it could show how he became the ruler of Cloud City.
Yeah.
Basically.
Have
King
that
of the
show end like a
Skies.
New
'Cause I-
Hope, or have the show end like Rogue One does with A New Hope, where it ends, then it's just like you
With-
got a visitor on the
Yeah, it's
dock.
like the Falcon showing up,
Yeah,
and that's
the
how
Falcon
it would
shows up.
end.
Yeah, that's how it ends. Yeah.
That's kind of
Um,
cool.
I think I can't remember if his comic series covered that or not. Though,
It does
but-
not. I've read his comic.
Oh, okay.
It's a very like it's just a 6-issue like here's a random story with old Gambler Orlando doing some
Oh,
gambling
okay.
hijinks, smuggling stuff.
but,
like, it's
um,
very generic. It's not. It's fine. But
like I know the target timeline for all these announcements is within the next 3 to 5 years, but until we get some more details out of what this Lando show is supposed to be, I don't want to say it, but I think the Make Solo 2 movement's not gonna come to fruition. I think that dream might be dead. If there was ever a chance for something to have been announced, it was
Yeah.
yesterday.
That's what I
I wouldn't
said.
bury it
Basically,
yet.
anything
bury
that wasn't announced yesterday
It-
probably isn't happening. Maybe
yeah,
we'll get to that at
um,
the end.
Yeah,
with
we'll
our Lord
get to
and
that
Savior.
a little bit more, but I think that we'll just have to see though. But moving on to the next big announcement is we got Leslie Headland's series revealed, and this is kind of going to involve what I wanted to go back to with that Inside the Magic article. But her show is revealed to be called Star Wars: The Acolyte, which is the pitch is the end times of the High Republic. So that's sweet. We're going to be getting a live action High Republic era show.
Yep,
It's
already.
a mystery thriller that'll take us to a galaxy full of shadowy secrets and a rising dark side power. And DJ, I know you had brought this up. I've seen it all over the internet. Jackson, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but everyone's mind is instantly going Plagueis.
Yes.
Darth
I also
Plagueis.
said this.
Yeah, you said that as well. And I get why people are doing that, because when you think old Sith Lords, everyone's mind, just because it's always because
The
that's what everyone
tragedy.
thought Snoke was, everyone the tragedy, all that kind of stuff. I get why they're doing Plagueis, but it was mentioned as the villain back in January 5th. To
I
be
think I
exact.
remember where you're going. So I
And
think I had this
Inside
thought
the Magic
today.
thing, and a lot of people also shrugged this off, is the villain, and it made sense to me too before I found this article, is going to be Darth Bane, because canonically he's an ancient Sith Lord and he's the one that founded the Rule of Two. So
Right.
at the end of the High Republic, when everything starts to go awry, it's obviously going to be due to the rise of the Sith. Darth Bane is going to be that rise. I mean,
Is-
that seems so obvious to me.
Is Bane the
Right.
KOTOR guy?
No, that's
trying
Revan,
to
right?
remember.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
Bane
can't-
is.
I
a
can't
diff-
remember-
Bane's,
I mean,
Bane's like
I-
from very popular books. I don't think he's been in anything else, right?
I can't remember if he was in KOTOR or not. I haven't played those games in so long, but he has
He wouldn't be, right?
his
It's way
books
before.
are awesome though.
Yeah.
They're very good, and he appears as that ghost in season 6 of
Right.
Clone Wars. That's like the only current canon material we have of
Doesn't
him.
like Mark Hamill play him or something?
Yeah, he does his voice in the series.
Really?
But like,
Wow.
so I mean, in my opinion, as this thriller is these High Republic people are going to be investigating what this rising dark side power is, and it's going to lead to the discovery of the Sith.
I wonder what
Um,
they mean by mystery thriller. Interesting.
You know, kind of like
Yeah.
a noir or something. It's probably like a crime
Yeah.
film,
That'll be it. But like with like laser swords.
Yeah.
which
Interesting.
sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Because you know what else was a noir film with laser swords? Attack of the Clones.
Mm, right. One tidbit about this one. I can't remember who was. I think it was reported when we heard about Lazy Headland doing a show. Wasn't this supposed to have the female lead? Isn't this the
Yeah,
one?
it's supposed to be a
Yeah.
female driven.
And everyone
so
thought that was going to be Ahsoka, like she was going to be doing the
they
Ahsoka show,
thought,
and it's not
yeah,
that.
I was kind of on the it's going to be an Afro show for a while
Yeah,
too.
we mentioned that one too.
Um,
Yeah.
but now we could possibly see our girl Avar Chris in
See,
live
that's what I was getting
action.
to. But then I'm
Yeah.
also like, if this is supposed to be the end days of High Republic, and part of me doesn't want to read into that much because High Republic was already pitched, sort of like this is like kind of like the end of this
It's like
order.
when they're in their prime before everything
Yeah,
goes
before
bad.
everything falls
Yeah.
apart and eventually leads us to the Phantom Menace.
Mhm.
So like part of me doesn't want to read into that too much, but it's also like if you do read into that, Avar Chris probably wouldn't make sense if you're just like she was just in this book. Now let's tell the end of her story. I know this is a few years away still, but I don't think they're gonna rush into us that quick.
But
I
what if
feel
they do?
It's
And what if it's Brie
possible.
Larson?
I had the exact same thought. I was like, Brie Larson plays Avar Chris. Obviously, she's
Yeah.
blonde. It's perfect. You don't need to think about it more than that, really. So
I'm actually very excited
yeah, I'm pumped about
for this show because it was like we said in last week's episode, the delay on those books probably helped it more than anything because like I am chomping at the bit to start reading those novels.
Yeah.
I'm a little less on this one. That's because I'm not as bought in on the High Republic like stuff as you guys are. But if this show is what it says it is, I might jump in at least before that comes out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like
We got a couple
gonna know
years.
anything more about the show. Like we're gonna have like 4 books in, but by the time we know anything more about this show, probably.
Mhm.
So
We'll have
see
like
how
4
that goes.
novels, a comic run, all kinds of
A
stuff.
VR game.
Yeah. Yeah, so pretty excited for that. Then the next announcement that we have is the Dork Show, Star Wars Visions, which is a animated anthology series from several different animated creators that just basically make a Star Wars short story under their animation style that they wanted to make it under. A lot of people are calling this the Star Wars anime. Yeah, I mean, this reminds me of the Batman Gotham Knight project from several years ago. If you guys
Right.
remember that,
That was pretty
Yes.
good. It was okay.
It's fine. I
yeah.
haven't watched
So
it.
I mean that's.
Can we take a quick time out? I guess I think of my eye.
But moving on to the next announcement is we are getting another animated series. It's called A Droid Story, where
Well, I noticed you just skipped right past the anime series. You don't have much to say about the anime.
You don't have much to say about
no,
anime,
don't have
Will?
much to say about the anime.
Well, I have
I'll
lots to
check it
talk
out.
about with the anime, okay?
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it, DJ.
There's gonna be some droids. They're gonna be there's a big subgenre of anime called mech anime, where it's all about kids and mechs. And I feel like that's maybe where we're going, where we're gonna have like big droids. It's gonna be like Devastator from Transformers, where there's
Yeah.
all the robots put together.
Mhm.
It's gonna be like that, but with a bunch of R2 units, and there's gonna
Okay.
be a kid inside it
Oh, of
controlling the
course.
mech. That's
yeah.
I think I'm pretty sure that's what
Okay.
that's what's in here. I'm pretty sure, yeah. So
Here's a question, and this will never happen just based on assumptions. What if Ghibli did a section? I think that would be
they're
pretty.
Disney owned, aren't they?
No,
They're
no, no, no,
Disney
no.
distributed.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a relationship.
Yeah,
Who knows?
I don't believe in
I
it.
don't think so. Ghibli's
And,
like
like,
such their own thing.
And if it did, it wouldn't be like a Hayao Miyazaki doing it.
No.
But
Mhm.
there could be some. Anyways, I kind of like. Nah, I won't say that. I won't say that on air for other people to hear.
I don't. No disrespect to it, but I don't dabble in the anime, so this is not something that excites me at all. I'll check it out, but
You know who would be cool to do this? Is I can't remember his first name, but Watanabe, the guy who did Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo, who
Oh,
also
okay.
did the Blade Runner short anime.
Right.
So he's already got some like buy-in there. I think he's still developing a Blade Runner animated series. if I'm-
Really?
I will have to fact check myself on that, but I could see him hopping in on like a Star Wars short, and he's pretty sick. I could
Yeah,
see him doing some bounty hunter
okay.
stuff. So
Mm.
yeah, that's the anime minute.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So let's go back to a droid story here, though. The animated series that is R2D2 and C3PO lead a new hero on a journey. I think this is going to be super like young kid focused, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Didn't
I
they
don't.
say it's the Resistance team doing this? Isn't that a thing that I read somewhere?
Oh, it very well could be
Yeah.
because I don't know what that team's doing. This would make sense though, especially since their series was younger aimed as
Yeah.
well. I'll probably check this out for a couple episodes, but I don't think this is something people our age are supposed to be tuning in every week on. If I had a child, I'd watch it with them.
Yeah.
But my only thought on it is just that depending on when this is going to take place in time, do we think that new hero might just be Jason Sandula?
Oh no. No.
Like them guiding him as like a toddler, like
I want them
on
to
Space
eventually do
Adventures?
something cool with Jason Sandula, so I don't want that
Oh,
personally.
okay.
Like
Okay,
event
that's
one
fair.
day we get something with Jason Sandula actually becoming
Yeah.
a Jedi. So I don't know if I would want a random
Man.
show with C3PO and R2 doing it. I don't know.
Star Wars is cool. There's so many little stories that have yet to be told,
Yeah.
and I want to hear them all.
Yeah, I do too. But I mean, I'm sure this will be fine though.
Yeah.
Very excited for that stuff though. But moving on along, as we found out that The Mandalorian season 3 isn't going to release until Christmas 2021. So after this coming Friday, at the time of this episode's release, after the final season episode of The Mandalorian, we're gonna have to wait over a year for the next new episode of The Mandalorian. OMG, I hope they're forgiving on the easy predicted cliffhanger that season 2 will probably end on. So I hope they don't go too hard on it, so that way that year over a year will be unbearable.
We'll definitely get to that.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I guess there's really nothing we can really talk about that. We do a whole show about the Mandalorian, so we can just talk to that after we see the finale and more. But that set up some interesting things. Is there's going to be 2 spin-off series live action that are part of the Mandalorian universe.
This is Disney coming in.
Yep. Also going to be run by Filoni and Favreau. So they're also in charge of these spin-offs as well. We'll start with the first one, and that is the live action Ahsoka spin-off. They brought Rosario Dawson back. They announced her as being back, and it's a lot of people are speculating just by Dave Filoni saying how he said her episode of Mando could take place before the Rebels epilogue, before she turned into her quote unquote Gandalf the White phase. A lot of speculation is that this spinoff series is going to show her through her gruesome Gandalf the Grey phase and becoming who we see in the Rebels epilogue that will lead into the Rebels sequel. That's what people think they're getting out of this.
Okay.
I noticed that people had pointed out that the logo for this series is very reminiscent looking to the World Between Worlds portal. I think that's just a design. Familiar, yeah. I think it's just a design coincidence. I don't think they're going to bring that back. Dave has said publicly he is hesitant to bring that back because he doesn't want Star Wars to become reliant on time travel in their saga like all other science fiction
Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right. I mean, that's like a trope, like a joke almost at this point. Is like, what do you do when you're a science fiction series that runs out of ideas? You do time travel.
Yeah.
So
there's a whole comic run based on it. It's called The Flash. That's literally the pitch of the comic. It's like, how can we keep rebooting this in different ways and rebooting the universe?
So are we excited about the Ahsoka spinoff series, boys?
Yeah, of course.
This is my number one because based off of Will, I think you were kind of right in what you've said previously. I think the Rebels sequel is going to be these 3 shows. Mm-hmm. Like I could see basically everyone that you want to see from Rebels showing up in all of these, including Mando season 3.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, that's the story I'm all in on at this point. So I'm very excited for this. And then to a lesser extent, the other one that we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah, and I think this one is definitely the most Rebel sequel series. Like, as much as like I think you're right, Will, that like Mando was, but I think it's branching out to make the other shows the actual sequel. Because as we talked about last week, like it doesn't sound like that's actually going to happen. So, and it didn't get announced yesterday, so I think we can safely say, or animated Rebels sequel series is not really in the cards for right
Right.
now. So
Right.
I think this is probably it. This is probably where we continue those thread lines, which I'm excited about. Like we're gonna in this show. I think I think we can say we're pretty much 90% sure we're gonna get a live action Sabine and Ezra, and that's pretty exciting to me. Just the prospect of that and digging into these characters more in a different timeline again.
And Thrawn.
And Thrawn. Probably
He's
like,
blue.
Yeah. He's blue.
I think
Like my
Thrawn is
shirt.
probably Mando.
This is my Thrawn cosplay.
Get those contacts that turn your eyes red or something.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
You know
See-
what? Thrawn's got a really good character design. He's got the blue skin, and then he's always decked out in white.
Yeah.
He's so dapper.
Yeah, he's
Like,
he's
the best.
good.
Is Thrawn the hottest Star Wars character?
Remember when he's doing does the shirtless fight scene, doesn't he? In Rebels?
He
Yes,
does.
yeah.
Yeah, he does a shirtless spot. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So the next spinoff that also got announced, I guess we'll just kind of have to see how it goes. It's called Rangers of the New Republic, has a very Top Gun looking logo and everything. So I'm pretty excited about this show just to see what it ends up being. They're kind of setting it up in this season of Mandalorian, and we'll
Yeah.
talk about it more when in the next episode when we're reviewing this week's episode of Mandalorian. But like, they're really kind of setting up that's where Cara Dune ends up going, and I really hope they change their mind on that. And I think they have.
I think they
Just
did.
because when they announced this spin-off series, they made no mention of cast people.
Yeah.
They did not hesitate to say Rosario was back as Ahsoka.
Yeah. They did
would
not
have
hesitate to
thought-
call a series Lando.
Yeah,
or,
if
like
you-
whatever.
you thought like
Cassian.
if Cara Dune was in this, they would have been like Gina Carano is back as Cara Dune in
Gina Carano stars in Dune.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying like they would have the name the same, but
Yeah.
they would be like Gina Carano is
mention
back,
her,
and
yeah.
so I think they're gonna not end up going that route.
Yeah.
But
I think they were. Like, I think this was clearly going to be a Gina Carano show. Gina and
Which is
friends.
weird because, like,
Yeah.
even aside from her whole deal, she's just not very good.
I know.
Like in the show.
Yeah.
And her being the person that she is has made me dislike when she's on screen. Like I actively like check out while her character's on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially since I think everyone but DJ is blocked by her on
Yeah,
Twitter.
I'm not blocked yet. I check almost every
Uh,
day, honestly. So
I'm
it's a
blocked,
shame.
Jackson's blocked, and the pod blocked.
Yeah, which we didn't even do. Wow.
I'm-
we might
I'm
have
number
done
one-
a little bit.
Number one Reddit insider and number one Gina Carano tweets insider because I'm the only one that
Yeah.
can check for you guys now. I
You're
don't
our
check.
balance. You're the Gina Stan.
Yeah, I'm the.
Maybe don't.
Yeah, maybe not.
Um,
I am excited about this show though, just in the sense
I just wanna
watching
see what
Mando.
it is.
Yeah, like watching Mando season 2 so far. One of my main things is just like, and this is like my main thing in general. Just like I every time
What's
we
that
get
New
New
Republic
Republic
up to?
mentioned, like I want to know. I want to dig into like what kind of mess and what kind of nonsense they're getting up to, trying to restore some order to this guy. I want to know, and
I think this is
even
also where you could
regardless
see
of
some
her-
Hera too.
yeah, you could
Yeah.
definitely see some hair in this show. There's
You
definitely
see
some people.
Iden
who could go.
Verso.
I think Iden Versio is absolutely in this show, and I
Mhm.
think that's why she was on set for Mando
Yep.
when that happened a few weeks ago. I think she's already casted. She's in.
Mhm.
I think so.
Interesting. She just went there to hang out though.
Right.
Hang
And,
out,
and
you know?
Dave had no idea that she was there.
Yeah, and Dave was
Yeah,
like,
but
"Wow, you want to
I
be
did.
a Mando?
I did see
Well,
something
maybe."
hilarious on Twitter that legit made me chortle. Is somebody said Filoni playing the long game finally paid off. He's got a series starring as the lead actor now.
Yep.
How hilarious would that be
Yeah.
though if his X-wing pilot was like the lead character in that?
That's
He's gonna
so
be in
funny.
it, but yeah.
But
There were some other
like,
names
what
I
if
was
the sh-
thinking of, but I can't remember them now. That could be in this.
Who's the alien from Battlefront 2?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Triv. Yeah,
Triv,
Triv.
yeah.
Yeah. Bring
He could
Triv in.
totally show up as well too.
Sure is the best part about that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's also all the cast members from Squadrons. They're all existing.
Yep. You
so
definitely
they
could
could
do
all be
that.
in this too.
You could even do like Alphabet Squadron. Like
Yeah.
I know like we've never made those transitions really before that much, but that could
They've
be
been doing
something.
them more and
we
more
have.
frequently.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
um,
true. So
Yeah, I'm actually very excited to see what. But like, my thought of those, like, because the two X-wing pilots that we have seen in Mando are kind of like sheriffs, basically. You know, like they're rangers or
Mhm.
whatever. What if this show is just like a Monster of the Week style show, where it's just like two X-wing pilots come up to investigate what's happening on these parts of town, and they help like a settlement for an episode, and then that's really it. And
Did you know
Yeah.
Mando's a Western?
yeah.
You know,
Or maybe the subplot could be they're investigating clues to find where Thrawn is.
I think this show I think none of the shows should do the Monster of the Week thing. Like I don't think there's like it's different when you're like doing full series, like 20 episode series.
Yeah.
But I think if anything that's been announced is the most likely to do that, it's this one. And I think if any of it would work as much, it would be this one.
yeah.
Mhm.
I also
Were you
think too
gonna
with
say
this
something?
show, this is the show I think that is gonna feel the most crossovery. Like I think Ahsoka's her own thing. Like they pitch both as this one and Ahsoka as like, and these are like the Mandalorian kind of split off universe things.
Mhm.
They're set at the same time. Like Ahsoka's gonna be her own thing. We all know it's gonna be
Yeah.
very, very separate. This is definitely gonna feel like we did a 3 episode arc that sets up something that's gonna happen in Mando season 4. Like, and it's just kind of there to be there for like really in the weeds people like us, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's going to have like a wide audience for it, or it's going to have a big impacts on the series as a whole, really. So I don't know.
But I do, because
You do?
they buried the lead in their press release about Rangers of the New Republic,
Okay, hit me.
where not only are both these series being show run by Favreau and Filoni, but in the article about the Rangers of the New Republic, they specifically mention that both of these series lead up to a crossover with the Mandalorian.
Yeah, they do.
So kind of like how I've said in our regular show about how I thought they were going to weave the 3 stories in the season of the Mandalorian, these are going to be the 3 stories that will just come to a head by the season finale, probably. And I think the characters will appear interchangeably throughout too.
And you know what? Something we talk about a lot with this stuff is that the Mandalorian's trying to be rebels and Rebels and Clone Wars, and that it has very defined smaller stories that are all kind of leading into each other, into a larger story that's happening and kind of in the background more.
Mm-hmm.
This would really work, I think, if you have 3 shows doing that all at once, where you actually have, because instead of just having 8 episodes, you have 24 or more.
Yep.
So you could actually have what will be a real season of
this
Clone
must have been
Wars.
what
this is
Favreau
smart.
meant
Yeah.
by doing the multiple different stories type deal that led to something big, as he meant that they were doing, because they're not technically spin-off series. I mean, they are, but at the same time, they're kind of just B plots to the Mandalorian on their own.
I hope they don't.
Jackson,
feel too
you were going to say
B-plotty,
something though.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they do the directing, not direction, for these episodes, because Mando, it's been like, even when they've gotten more and more into it on the story, they've been pretty diverse with their directors. Like there's like a different person directing every episode of this season. Now I'm wondering, do maybe they like pull like Bryce Dallas Howard and one of the other big directors, and they kind of like do more work on one series or the other? Or do they like for Ahsoka, I don't see Dave Filoni directing every single episode, but like,
yeah, I don't either.
Most of them could probably be him, because that sounds like that's his baby.
You know, it would be awesome to direct an Ahsoka episode.
Shut your mouth, Will. I know what you're gonna say. I'm just gonna say George Lucas. He could, yeah. I know.
DJ,
stop. The dream is dead. Okay.
DJ got hostile.
You got to calm down. It's never gonna happen.
Yes,
He's
it
asking
is.
questions.
He's making his New Hope edits. Okay. That's all he's doing.
And you know, George Lucas is at home, and he's not doing it digitally. He's doing it on one of those like old like rotary.
He's actually
like,
cutting
digital...
it. He's cutting the film. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just kind of curious to see like writing wise, it's gonna be Favs and Filoni, but like I like the way Mandalorian spices up the directing stuff. So I'd be curious to see how they do it in these other series.
I guess the one thing I do want to add before we move on to the next piece, though, is like DJ, you brought up a very good point. This now gives them essentially a 24 episode season to tell these side stories and these big stories. I really want to see the writing get a little sharper then. Because it's still, it's still very surface level in Mandalorian. I would love to see just a little bit extra layer of depth added to everything now that they can actually like take time to build up stuff and flush it out instead of, you know what I mean? Very excited though, but that's it for the streaming side of things of the investor call. Now they moved on to the feature film. Not very much going on in the feature film realm, but some big bombs did they drop. Starting with Indiana Jones 5 with James Mangold and starring Harrison Ford is still.
I don't know why you threw me off there with that. And I was like, oh, right, non-Star Wars.
Yeah, it is still set to start filming in the spring for a July 2022 release.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But
I saw a lot of people shocked that like Mangold was directing, but didn't we know that?
Yeah, they said that he was directing. I think people just forgot.
Yeah, which is fair.
Yeah. So I mean, Harrison Ford, I think, turns 79 this upcoming year. So
great. That's gonna go well.
Especially for somebody as physical as Indiana Jones. They're just gonna make Indy 5 is just gonna be Logan, isn't it?
Oh no.
I hurt myself
that
today.
Would be crazy.
Yeah, it's just gonna be, and it even makes sense because like Harrison Ford is so grumpy in real life now, just like Logan is in that film. That I bet that's just what they do. But
never mind. I was gonna suggest something that today maybe changed what might have happened in the movie. Never mind.
Why would change?
What
I was gonna suggest that potentially Shia LaBeouf would star in this movie, but I have a feeling he's probably not going to.
I don't know anything that happened with Shia today. I'm scared to find out.
Since
we can talk about that after the show.
Yeah, Shia had some news about him though that was rather unfortunate. But next piece of news though is they are still moving forward with the production of the Children of Blood and Bone movie. That's an adaptation of the book of the same name. That's the movie, if you remember, that Rick is attached to direct. So pretty excited to see what turns out of that. I keep meaning to get that book and read it because it's apparently phenomenal. I cannot think of the author's name off the top of my head. Forgive me for that, but like she was named like one of Time 100's like most influential authors or something. So very excited to see what that movie becomes. I'm very interested in picking up the book at some time. So that's still moving forward with production as well. They are doing a Willow sequel series for Disney Plus. I've seen Willow when I was a child. I don't remember anything of it. I don't remember liking it either. So I'm pretty curious to see how that turns up. I know Kasdan is involved, John Kasdan. I think he's writing it, I believe. So I'm pretty excited just to see what that ends up being. I'm always down for more fantasy stuff. We finally got an update on Taika Waititi's. He is currently writing it, and Kathleen described it as being a wild ride and a unique story compared to any other Star Wars that we've experienced so far, using his unique sense of humor. I mean, it's just Taika.
It's a mockumentary.
I'm down just because it's Taika to begin with. But some interesting things that we're going to speculate responsibly, but we're going to over-speculate here for a little bit. As one is the font of his logo that they revealed. Very animated segment of the Star Wars Holiday Special font. It could very well be a tongue-in-cheek joke just from Taika because that's his sense of humor.
It's a joke.
But what if they go to that planet at some point in the film with the dinosaurs?
What if indeed?
I think it would be cool.
You
I think
know,
we should
I'm
do it.
happy. I'm happy you scaled it back to just that. I was really thinking you're gonna be like, what if it's a tie-in? Like, what if Life Day is happening?
No,
Like,
I'm just saying, what if they go to
Chewie's
that
grandpa
planet
is watching
that
VR porn again?
what if they go to that planet where we meet Boba for the first time with like the
Yeah,
dinosaurs and all
okay,
that,
like,
which would be
yeah,
a cool reuse of it.
Yeah,
But
that's fine.
also
see
there
that.
was some artwork behind Kathleen while she was talking about this, and when it first popped up on screen, I thought it was Mortis, thinking maybe he's gonna deal into like the Mortis arc and
A lot
stuff
of
like
people are
this.
saying that. Yeah.
But renowned Star Wars scooper from CineLinks, Jordan Mason, tweeted out about how he was reading this old Legends novel called Dawn of the Jedi Into the Void by Tim Levin, which I have not read before,
Those
but
nerds too.
there is a cover of that book where it is a very extreme coincidence, if it is a coincidence. There's some object on that cover that is the exact same object as what was behind Kathleen talking
That'd
about
be a
this.
very strange coincidence.
Yeah.
Especially for a scooper to be the one that finds that out. You kind of be like, did you know something? Like,
Yeah,
did you have a little thread? Then you look at the book and you're like, okay. Like, I feel like there's something here for sure.
Obviously, because I can't help myself, I immediately ordered that book on Amazon because I need to know, so I'm gonna read it and see what that's all about. But yeah, strange that his isn't the 2023 movie, but that's understandable because he's also doing Thor, so he's got a lot going on his plate. But we do find out what the 2023 film is, and it came out of nowhere, and that is a Rogue Squadron film directed by Patty Jenkins, which in a way, Inside the Magic was right again, because earlier this year they reported that a Rogue Squadron project was being done, but they reported it was going to be an animated series and not a film. But they were barking up the right tree. They were just going down the right branch.
They heard something.
Yeah. By the way, I do own my copy still of Rogue Squadron. It's a fantastic. It's Legends now, but there's a whole series of them. I think there's 5 books total. They're awesome. Yeah. The old video games of them were awesome as well.
I've looked into reading these ones, and I'm just like, I should just read Alphabet Squadron. Like, I don't need to go back and read all 5 of these. So that's what I did.
That's
I'm
true.
very happy I did. So.
It's but on top of besides the Inside the Magic report back earlier this year, though, that like literally no one scooped that. Like, that came out of left field for everyone, and everyone was equally floored. Like, no one said Patty was developing a Star Wars film. No one had said anything about it being Rogue Squadron. So, like, it was nice to actually have a project catch everyone on the internet off guard with glowing praise from everything that I've seen.
This was the only thing here that was, like, genuine surprise. Everything else, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Or, we've heard about that. And this one, I was just like, what? Huh? Yeah. Like, okay.
And then, like, the more I've thought about it, though, like, the more it made sense, because Christian Harloff of the Schmoes Entertainment Network, formerly of Jedi Council, said a long time ago, he said that you can always kind of see what's going to come out of Star Wars by who's appearing with each other, who's working together, because it's always led to something down the road. And the more I had thought about it, I was like, well, Bill Burr and Robert Rodriguez were on Chef Show. They ended up doing Mando episodes.
Pedro.
Bryce Dallas Howard was using the Wonder Woman cinematographer. Pedro Pascal is in Wonder Woman 84. And I was like, there's that collaboration window right there that was in plain sight, and I didn't even think about it until the movie was announced. It does make me have a worry, though, just from a discourse perspective, is I have heard things from reliable reporters, and I say reliable because they're people I follow because they give out very accurate Star Wars news, though. But some of them have managed to see Wonder Woman 84 early, and none of them had anything positive to say about how the film is. One of them even described it as a franchise killer. So this was before they went through some reshoots, though. So maybe they've fixed it since then. but like I've been worried about that film leading up to it, but I don't
Yeah.
The
think
movie's supposed to come out a year and a half ago.
Yeah, like even
Right.
before COVID, this film like had a very, very
Yeah.
strange like marketing
Development
cycle
time.
I
and
remember-
development.
and like I've heard this stuff, and then like people have described, and Pascal himself has described his performance in this as very Nick Cage like, which is not how you want to sell yourself in a film, like ever.
yeah.
Because he was like, yeah, Wonder Woman and Cheetah do the action, I do the acting, and it's like, oh
He's amazing.
yeah,
I remember
Well, Pedro.
back when this movie was originally not postponed,
Reshoots.
pushed back or whatever, like the
Yeah.
first time, because it was supposed to come out last December, if I remember correctly.
I think
think
last
so.
July initially.
Yeah.
Or-
that
and
sounds
they
right.
were like-
December, no, and then November, then December, and then they pushed it to September of this year,
and then COVID.
and then COVID, so then they
Yeah.
pushed it back to December where we're at now.
I just
Yeah.
remember the first time they pushed it, they're like, yeah, we wanted to push it back to where we launched the first movie because that's where it feels right. And I was like,
Mhm.
that's not a reason for you to push back a movie.
Yeah,
They push it back because there's problems.
All the
yeah.
investors in the
Um,
room were sitting there just like, this doesn't feel right in this spot. We really don't want to make money here.
Emotionally, it makes
Yeah.
more sense for the movie to come out in the same day. But yeah, I guess that's kind of beside the point. I, alternatively for Rogue Squadron, one of my, not my favorite, because you know me, I love these Last Jedi films.
Mhm.
But all of the shots, like that opening section of Last Jedi where like the space battle's going on, and then it looks better than it ever has before. A whole movie of that theoretically could be very
A
cool.
whole movie of
Oh,
like
yeah.
the end of Rogue One, basically. Like,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. That'd
that
be
would
cool.
it'd be so good.
like
with
you
some-
like when like Oscar Isaac put him and like pulls around, you like see him in the cockpit, and like when they're
Yeah.
the way they film the space battles in the sequels is gorgeous. So I assume there'll be a lot of those similar people working on this project. So
Oh,
at the
yeah.
very least, I'm excited for that aspect, for it to look
Yeah.
good.
yeah. So I guess now I'm in the camp where I hope Wonder Woman 84 is a hit because
Yeah.
because if it comes out and it's a disaster, the discourse for the next 3 years up until the Rogue Squadron film comes out is going to be an ever living nightmare.
Yeah.
'Cause that's
It's
coming out
all
before
the only
Taika's movie, right?
Yeah. It'll be
Yeah.
the only movie we'll know anything about for a while, probably. Because like we still won't know about. They're probably not going to start marketing Taika's movie until like we might get a title and like a pitch.
Yeah.
We're not going to get like
and-
actual marketing until this one's out.
Well, we probably
theoretically.
won't see anything from this film until Star Wars Celebration 2022.
Yeah,
unless
it's
that
gonna be a
gets
while.
canceled.
So
But yeah, I'm very excited for it for the reasons Jackson said. I've said several times on our podcast in the past. I know it for a fact I have, that I've always wanted to see a Rogue Squadron Top Gun style film in Star Wars. So
yeah, it makes sense.
thank you, Kathleen. I know you're a listener and friend of the show, so thank you for listening and greenlighting this project.
Yeah.
I do like Patty Jenkins though, so like it's not like I don't want Wonder Woman to fail. If I come
Yeah.
across that way, like I do enjoy her work. But I just, from a discourse perspective, the internet was already bad enough just with Hayden coming back. I could only imagine if they're gonna be bringing in a director, because I was gonna say at least she's just directing Wonder Woman, did the story and screenplay, so she'll have to have a little bit of
Yeah.
leeway with that too.
This is also the first woman to direct a Star Wars movie, so that's
Mhm.
it's cool.
Yeah, very exciting.
We had some like Mando episodes, but this is like the first movie, so that's pretty cool.
Did you see her announcement video she tweeted out though?
I did see that; it was good.
Talking about like how she wanted to make like a Top Gun-esque fighter movie.
I'm actually
and-
reading the quote right now.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
yeah, read the quote,
yeah,
Jackson.
read it.
Oh, yeah. It's been a lifelong dream as a filmmaker to one day make a great fighter pilot movie, said Jenkins. As the daughter of a great fighter pilot myself, some of the best memories of my life are seeing my father's squadron take off in their F4s every morning and hearing and feeling the awe-inspiring power and grace. The quote's long, which I'd like me to continue.
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it.
When he passed away in service to this country, it ignited a burning desire to one day channel all of those emotions into one great film. When the perfect story arrived, in combination with another true love of mine, the incomparable world of Star Wars, I knew I'd finally found my next film. I'm extremely honored and excited to be working on and grateful to Lucasfilm, Disney, and the fans for extending the thrill to me.
Oh, yeah. And then
Yeah,
in the
that's
video,
good.
though, she gets out of her car, puts a Rebellion helmet on, and gets into an X-Wing. But so it was a cool announcement video. It is also important to note, though, Patty's back. If everyone may not remember, she was originally supposed to direct Thor 2 and then left over creative differences. And then that's how Wonder Woman came to be.
Sounds vaguely
So
familiar.
she's back in the Disney fold. Very excited for that film, though. But
We don't have any timeline thing to go off of. There's
Yeah,
a quote that went
that's
around
the-
that was like future era, which
well,
I can't tell what that means.
yeah,
It says here,
Kathleen.
the story will introduce a new generation of starfighter pilots in the future era and move the saga into the future era of the galaxy.
Yeah. See,
So, like,
people
does
don't know
mean
if that
post-episode
means.
9?
Yeah, they don't know if that means after Rise of Skywalker. Does that mean just future in general? So it could be any time period.
Yeah.
Those
Because
are
to
just-
me, the obvious thing to do, and it would kind of make sense with this quote, is to do something post episode 6, and you basically finally do Operation Cinder in a real way. I think that would be a very good direction to take this in, like actually explain what that is to the general public, and like do like one of the planets there, like.
Mhm.
That makes a lot of sense, and like kind of makes sense with like the future era, especially because like we're digging into this stuff with the shows now too. Because like, what is future era? Does future era mean the future of the storytelling that's happening now, or does future era literally mean it is the furthest back in the timeline? I can't.
Mhm.
It's weird. I wish they specified and gave us a like actual pitch instead. Of
I
just
think
like,
they'll- I think they'll-
Starfighters.
I think they'll give us more down the road. It's just,
Yeah.
that was for investors, not for us.
Right.
But
But they were live streaming it. It was
Right.
for us.
right. But that did it for movie news and Lucasfilm section altogether in the panel. So Jackson and DJ, my condolences, but I think the dream is dead, and I don't think Ryan Johnson's trilogy is actually going to happen anymore. I don't think it was any fault of Ryan's. I think he was just a product of the internet. Which is very unfortunate.
I also think they decided to change direction in how they were making Star Wars movies.
Yeah, that too.
Maybe as a result of Last Jedi, but I think more so as a result of the trilogy as a whole.
Yeah, because I mean, just from all this being mapped out, they definitely have a plan now.
Yeah.
So you can't really critique that they're going into this blind like they were anymore. The Patty
People will still
Jenkins
say they are,
announcement.
but
The Patty Jenkins announcement, though, does. I think that I ended up being right on that, where I said the future movies are going to be a Rogue Squadron movie, and then if it's successful, maybe they'll make a sequel to it. But they're not going to have these movies come out where it's just like the next three films are definitely
episode 10.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not going to be like, this is Rogue Squadron 1, 2, and 3. This is going to be Rogue Squadron. That next one will probably be a different movie, and then the one after that could be Rogue Squadron 2, maybe. But I don't think they're going to do the trilogy approach like that anymore.
yeah, not for a while at least. I
Yeah.
think eventually, I think we get back to it.
Which is also the right move, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ryan's definitely still interested. I cannot see like watching The Last Jedi and like everything he's talked about it. I'm just like, there's no way that man is done with this franchise. Like,
Mhm.
like he might like personally now, like he might actually be done with it. Like he might never make a thing again. But I don't think. I think he wants to come back eventually. But
I think
I
it'd be
think he's like,
hilarious
there's
if-
no way I'm doing it right now. And also, I want to make Knives Out too. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do that. Like,
I mean, he went on to get Academy nominations for Knives
Yeah.
Out and stuff. So I think he's still doing our. I think it would be hilarious though if he created his own space fantasy movie and
That
like
would
went
be
and
very
like went to
funny.
Paramount or something and competed against Disney with it.
That would be funny. I have a question for the crew. I've been doing this in the background throughout this episode, but I'd like to see for us to maybe rank our excitement or interest for all of these projects. I've got my list ready. Would you like me to share it?
now
Well,
I
you can maybe.
Yeah,
You
let's
can share
let's
yours
hear your
first.
wrist.
I'm gonna go from the bottom to the top. We've got A Droid Story, The Acolyte, Lando, Star Wars Visions, Andor, Rangers of the New Republic, Rogue Squadron, Obi-Wan, Bad Batch, Taika's untitled film, and Ahsoka. Please roast me.
Okay. Acolyte is too low. That is my only roast for you.
I'll go next. I'm going to go in the reverse. I'm going to go from top to bottom. My most anticipated is Ahsoka. Then followed behind that would be Rogue Squadron. Then the Taika film. Then Acolyte. Then Obi-Wan. Then Andor. Then Bad Batch. Then the Rangers of the New Republic. Then Lando. And then A Droid Story. And then Visions. I think that's everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all are in agreement. Ahsoka, number one for sure for
Mhm.
me. I would probably say Obi-Wan. I'm gonna go Cassian after that, just because it's a bit closer. I'm like more chomping at the bit at that. So I'll say Cassian before Obi-Wan. So then
Okay.
Obi-Wan 3, Rogue Squadron for sure. I'm interested, but like I need to know more before I'm like really in it. Same with Taika. Taika is probably after that too. Then I'd probably put New Republic over Orlando, just because we don't even know what Orlando really is. Oh, I forgot Acolyte. Acolyte is probably number 4 behind Obi-Wan. Yeah,
You guys are more
I'm
into
really
this than
messy.
I...
You can't ask me to make a list on the spot, man.
It's well, and also we're more into it because we're hype about High Republic.
Yeah.
That's very true.
So that would probably be mine. Bad Batch is pretty close, so it's probably up there too. But
Okay, just
Around-
don't worry.
around
Don't
that
finish
range.
the list. Don't worry about it.
You can't ask me. I gotta write
It
out.
was
I gotta
too
make a
much for DJ.
spreadsheet.
You gave
I gotta
DJ
make-
overload.
I gotta order it. I gotta like have different categories.
I think we can. I think we can all agree though that we're
Ahsoka
excited
number
for almost all of them.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think there was any we're not excited for, except
Mhm.
maybe
Jackson
Star Wars
hates
Visions.
yeah,
Jackson. Jackson hates female-led
Yeah.
Star Wars.
I can't even remember the word now. Apocalypse? Is that right?
Acolyte.
Apocalypse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Acolyte.
Acolyte.
You just said
Yeah.
it.
Acolyte. I don't know why I
You flustered him trying to get him to rank
Oh,
everything.
you made me so upset that I
We're
couldn't
falling
pronounce
apart
words
here.
anymore. We're falling
Yeah,
apart.
so but my goodness, how much news that was. I'm excited for all of it. The next 3 to 5 years in the Star Wars franchise looks like it's in great hands. I don't know now if
They're working on
Kathleen's
they're working on the
leaving and-
timeline now.
yeah.
They're like they've really spread out kind of what they're doing
Yeah.
too, which is interesting for me.
Yeah, everything's in a different there's different aesthetics, different directors, different creative directions. It's they kind of double down on actually planning everything out and then some, but and to make everything different. It's just not the same like Marvel is. So and I also, to be honest, I don't know if Kathleen's leaving in 2021 anymore now when her contract's up.
She seems
very committed.
She seemed
to-
in. I read a rumor yesterday though, is that Alan Horn, the head of Disney Studios, is considering retiring this year as well, and she would definitely be the lead candidate to take his spot. I think that'd be the only way I could see her leaving.
It was very interesting watching I didn't watch much of the investors conference or call or whatever, but like all the different heads of the different studios, I was like, none of them kind of have like, obviously we follow Star Wars a lot closely than like the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like none of them really have the head. Like obviously I assume they do good work and they're like successful like heads of studios, but like none of them have the clout that Kathleen does.
Yeah, like the most decorated producer in the history of Hollywood, basically. But on the other hand, though, like people forget this. Like George made her the president of Lucasfilm before he sold. So like she's been running this independent studio since before 2012 now. So yeah, I think she's in it to win. I don't think she's leaving anymore now. But that's going to do it for the news episode of today's double batch of episodes. So yeah, I guess we'll just see you on the next episode where we talk about The Mandalorian. There's really no need to plug our socials, but...
Or alternatively, wow, you guys really listened to 2 hours of us speak over 2 episodes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so thank you for joining on this episode. We will see you on the part 2 of the double block. Okay, bye.